A very good evening to everybody. Today we are celebrating Diamond Jubilee celebration of Deep Talks 61st episode with Professor KP Shante and Srishti, our communication connect. She would be introducing Professor KP Shante, and tonight I wish that you all join us for this beautiful conversation with an eminent personality who is there with us by taking his valuable time out only for inspiring many souls who will be watching this episode not during the live only but after it also. It is rightly stated the time waits for none. And I wish that the ones who are watching us tonight take most of what Professor KP Shante has to share with us. So let's have Srishti introducing Professor KP Shante on this Diamond Jubilee celebration of Deep Talks, the 61st episode. And I'll be delighted to have Srishti just starting off with the curtain raiser. Good evening, Srishti, and good evening, Professor KP Shante.
Good evening.
Good evening and welcome everyone. It is my absolute pleasure and honor to introduce to you our guest for tonight, Professor KPS Shante. Living gold makes all the difference. A quote by Miss Gurleen Khokhar as a writer says it all. The tremendous courage to hold interviews and make the host shine through deep conversations with comfort looks easy, but it's not everyone's cup of tea. So, deep talks make it simpler to convey the message of bravery to excel in all you do, which is needing enough courage to contribute to the nation. One such eminent guest is contributing to our nation by giving us his valuable time and presence. Professor KPS Shante retired as Dean from Postgraduate Government College for Girls, Sector 42, Chandigarh, after giving service of 35 years as a teacher. He pursued studies in numerous disciplines and has earned a master's degree in English and Geography, a degree in Mass Communication, a diploma in French, and a certificate in German from the prestigious Punjab University, Chandigarh, and learned Spanish from Berlitz School of Languages, London. He has also won many scholarships and traveled vastly, including France on a French government scholarship in 1986 and England and Argentina in 1991 on a Rotary International program. He is very outstanding as a person among his students and has inspired and steered them for Indian Armed Forces, civil services, MBA, media, banks, education, law, IELTS, and other entrepreneurial fields, and has done many creative literary summer-winter workshops. He is a terrific orator who has spoken at various forums and given talks on motivation, career guidance, communication, excellence, competitive examinations, interview preparation, Rotary clubs, faculty development programs, teacher and corporate training, and many more. He is a judge for literary events at official AIU national All India level since 1989. He is an award-winning photographer and freelance journalist, a talent scout, and founder advisor to a creative group named The Brainstormers. Being a sports zealot, he played almost all games including tennis, badminton, table tennis, cricket, and chess at inter-university and all India level and won university gold in water polo. He is a mastermind who won over 100 quiz contests at various levels and has conducted over 500 top level quizzes for over 40 years, including inter university finals as quiz master. He is a gallant personality who has done various adventurous sports like parasailing, rowing, river rafting, horse riding in India and France. He is also a veteran trekker and has organized and led several high altitude expeditions to the Himalayas. Besides this, he also takes keen curiosity in social activities and has donated 450 ml blood each time on more than 125 occasions for the good of the society and public in general. Professor Shante is an all-rounder and a vibrant personality who is always ready to help others. He is an incredibly devoted soul to his duties that he has rarely taken any leave accept duty leave to perform duties elsewhere throughout his career. He loves India so much that he even gave up the recourse to obtain the USA green card to maintain the noble profession of teaching in India. Anyone who knows him, including me, look up to him for insight and motivation and are excited to seek direction and prayers from him to be prosperous in life. It is an honor to be mentioning that Miss Gurleen Khokhar, as a psychologist, has interviewed many commendable souls on Deep Talks with a mental health initiative to break barriers to express and never forget the original self, which usually gets lost in achievements. Be bold, be focused, and be brave enough to challenge and stay mentally healthy. Every mind and every heart deserves to be heard. On this note, halting this conversation for the future connects by stating this from a courageous soul herself, the host of this show, Miss Gurleen Khokhar, who has left no stone unturned to be the torch bearer for many souls in the realms of relationship, guidance, speaking, writing, modeling, and much more. She has today chosen Professor KPS Shante to deliver his own life's experiences, and it is noteworthy to be joining this terrific conversation. I hope you all enjoy this beautiful talk, and I would love to see everyone sharing and liking this soon to make us feel right. Also, I would like to apologize in advance for any technical glitch that might occur during the show, but we will make sure to update everyone about the recourse immediately. I leave the virtual stage of communication open to the public and ma'am for leading the way up. Thank you, sir and ma'am.
Thank you so much, Srishti, for making this introduction. Such a great insight into what we are supposed to do during our conversation. It was fantastic that you said something which was eminent enough that he's such a great personality that we are holding him tonight on Deep Talks. It's an honor for us. And good evening, Professor KP Shante. Once again, I hope that you loved Srishti introducing you as a youngster. And I am so glad that this Diamond Jubilee celebration is just made for you. And this show is all about original self and the facts during the life experiences. So here we are, and let's start a conversation. So the first question that I would want to ask you is, how do you feel as an educationist talking about bold topics on this show?
First of all, let me compliment you on this show that you're doing, and let me thank you for the
Thank you
offer
so
that
much.
Srishti made on behalf of you initially. Srishti was my
Thank you.
student in the college, not directly, but
Yes.
then she was a student when I was the dean, and she's a bright girl. It was a pleasant surprise when she called me and told me about this show,
True.
and she's
True.
wonderful. Thank you so much to Srishti and to you for the very lengthy introduction. I'm a small
Yeah.
man, haven't done much, but then I put my fingers into too many pies and like to savor life, like to see life in its various facets and do as much as possible. There's a very old saying that do as much good as possible, as many
True.
times as possible, to as many people as possible. So that was one of
True.
my guiding principles. So many times, that just keep doing good without any expectations at all. Coming
That's
to your
wonderful.
question, yeah. So
Yes.
I probably there was a voice glitch. The question was
Okay.
about education, right?
Yes, it was about that as an educationist, you have appeared on this show, and as you know, Deep Talks is all about talking boldly and talking about originality and the facts. So, how do you feel talking about these topics, which usually people don't talk about? So, there have been certain people who have come on this love seat, which I call it as a love seat, and talking about certain topics which are very close to their personal life. So, how do you, as a person, feel when you are talking something which is usually not heard on many platforms, and as an educationist, obviously?
I'm absolutely fine. Being a quiz master and being a quizzer all my life, being a learner, a student all my life. But one is used to expecting anything. The thrill
True.
of adventure. Whenever I've gone trekking, So many times I used to go without a map, without a guide. I've never gone with a guide, never gone with a cook. Most people
Yes.
go for treks with guides, with cooks, with horses or mules, and with other people, with the porters who are carrying their
True.
stuff. To me, that
True.
doesn't make sense. I believe that you carry your own stuff, you carry your own tent, your own rucksack, your own sleeping bag, you cook your own food, you find your own way, and even if you get lost, the thrill of getting lost and finding your way again, that adventure can never be compensated by any guide. The best of the
Very true.
guides may take you, but then they will never be able to make you lose your way and have the thrill of finding your way. So my philosophy was always that, uh, be exposed to anything new. So your topic, your forum, your uh, offer of this talk, whatever comes, take it as it is. Take it as an adventure. Let
True.
me just
That
share
is
one little thing.
fantastic.
Since you asked me how do I feel as an educationist, I must compliment you on the topic that you chose initially: bright mindset
True.
for a bright future. So
True.
initially, I thought it's going to be about education, about academics. That is what Srishti had
Yes.
told me about, and I also thought
True.
that the topic being bright mindset for a bright
True.
future is going to be an academic talk directed at
True.
students. Subsequently, the flyer which came. Now let me throw a question at you. Being a quiz
Why
master,
not?
I have to throw questions. So
Why
subsequently, when
not?
the flyer came, one, two, three, four of them, the lips uh, did seem attractive. The red lips.
Yes.
Somehow they
Yes.
didn't seem to fit in with the topic, the academic topic. And
Okay.
then that love seat. Now I was not expecting that word love seat. When I saw in the flyer
Yes.
that will be in the love seat, so that set
Yes.
me thinking. I thought, all right, it's a deep talk, so maybe you're going to be exploring one's
Yeah.
personal thoughts, one's
True.
deeper thoughts also.
True.
So I was trying to think,
Yes.
where does the
How is it
academic talk fit
correlation?
in? Where does the
Yeah.
talk directly at the students fit in? Where does
Yes.
this the lips? Maybe you can throw a better light on this. How did the lips come in?
Why
And
not? Why
I
not?
think
Deep
I got
talks.
it. I
Yeah.
think I got
So
it in a way, but
some.
then I would like to hear your view
Yeah,
on this.
I would love to share this with the audience as well as I think the ones who have already been there. But this is a beautiful question thrown in by you, and you are the first one to throw a question to me. So basically, the lips is
Just
basically
excuse my interruption.
yes.
When I was sharing that flyer, I was thinking, what would my students be thinking? Not that I was perturbed. I was not upset. I was thinking, let them think. What would they be thinking? It was supposed to be an
True,
academic talk,
true,
and these lips and
true,
all this. You know.
true.
So, but one has to be open about things,
Yes,
and one has to be
yes,
confident enough to share things. Anyway, it's
yes.
your take, your answer.
Yeah, it is something that is related to, mental health services. And there are people who come on the stage and they ask me this question. It is like we talk through the mouth. So I couldn't think of a better logo than lips. Plus, it is the most important aspect from where your words come out. So I chose that logo. The other thing is deep talks. Everybody is not open to certain topics in life and they commit suicide and other things that are actually unhealthy for our nation. And I believe that's how. And plus, when I shared the flyer, I wanted people to remain curious, the ones who are not known to this platform, what Deep Talks is all about. So I wanted them to connect to me. So it is something like a mystery thing where people would love to know what it is all about. So that is how I chose Deep Talks as the name, because it is, unraveling the experiences of a person from within. And person has to be courageous enough to be there, whether he's an educationist or an IS officer or somebody like Vivek Atri who appeared on this show. So he was open to it. There are many others from foreign countries who are open to talking about sexuality, sensuality, because people are dying these days when they don't talk about these things. So it's our duty, whether we are an educationist or we are holding an important chair. I think it's important to talk. And as a psychologist, if I do not bring out an initiative, somebody has to move. So I had to move and I thought about it and instantly it kicked off because people started liking it. So that's how. I didn't make a website or didn't promote it much through an advertisement or something. But I feel when you connect from your genuine heart and you do something from your heart and mind, then you really have to do it, because there are no two ways. You don't have to look back. You just have to keep unraveling many souls' mysteries, because that's the beauty of it. Everybody knows you, you're an educationist, but I wanted people to know and connect to you for your being you, not your achievements only. Obviously, people know about your achievements. It's something that you have undergone and you have actually attained them with a lot of hard work, dedication, and people would be inspired by that. I'm so sure about it. But this is what inspired me to start this show, so that I bring people on the seat, and I call it love seat because I feel when the world is fighting things, and during the pandemic or during harsh times, people are hardly there for people. So during good times, people are there celebrating good experiences and good parties and celebrating everything. So we should try to keep it something that is connecting with everybody. So unconditional love would make it happen. So that's how I call that love seat. So everyone who comes there should feel comfortable and should feel loved and wanted. So that is the connection between deep talks, the lips, and the love seat. So I hope that I've answered your question really nicely.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful explanation. I had already guessed it. As time went by and as the show started, I could
Yes.
correlate things and I could reach that conclusion. But then hearing from you in a very explicit manner is satisfying. And
Yeah, it's
to continue
satisfying.
with that, to continue with that and my take on that, I've always been saying to my friends, to my family, to my students in the classes very clearly that we Indians are amongst the most hypocritical of the people across the
True.
world. South
True.
Asians, West Asians, you can say. Sometimes I don't use the
True.
word Indians, I use the word South Asians or West Asians.
Yes. Yes.
These two classes, I've traveled across, I've met a lot of people all across the world. I've stayed with
True.
families in France, in Argentina. I've been very close to families from Southeast Asia, from US, across America, South America.
True.
And
Fantastic.
believe me, South Indians and West Asians are amongst the biggest hypocrites in the world.
Yes.
We are timid people. We are, by and large, I don't mean everybody. There are exceptions.
True.
There are exceptions
Yes.
in terms of individuals, in terms of some groups, you can say. But by and large, we are amongst the most hypocritical of people, timid
True.
of people,
Yes.
scared. ये क्या हो जाएगा, वो क्या हो जाएगा, what will he say, what will
Exactly.
she say? We
Yes.
are we are victims, prisoners of our own cobwebs, mental
True.
cobwebs.
True.
And
True.
Aristotle, in geography we have geography is a very very vast subject,
Vast
touches
subject.
everything, truly a multidisciplinary subject.
True.
Aristotle said more than 2000 years ago that people of the warmer climates are cowards, they're timid, they're not reliable. So
Yeah.
anyways, the idea is not to criticize, the idea is to know, to grow,
Yes.
and to move on.
That is
I've just reminded
fantastic.
of it. I was reminded of a beautiful joke to continue from where you had mentioned about that love seat and lips and
Yes.
the deep talk.
Yes.
Maybe some people have seen it on Facebook or WhatsApp, but it's a very old joke. I've been doing these circles uh, in forwards. Uh, an American, a Frenchman, a Britisher, let's say a Spanish, an Indian, 6, 7 people get
True.
marooned on an island.
Yes.
So, so within, let's say, by the next day, the French man and the French girl, they were sleeping together. Within a week or whatever, somebody had got married. So let's say
True.
after 6 months, somebody had a baby. Or after a year,
Yes.
whatever time, somebody had a baby, and so
True.
they were dancing. Somebody had a dance party, and after 9, 10 months or so, the Indian and the Indian girl, the Indian boy and the Indian girl, you know what happened to them?
No. Must
They were
have left or
strangers. They were strangers because they kept waiting for somebody to introduce them to each other.
yeah, I could make
Look,
out
look at the
that.
joke and the irony. We
The
people
irony.
lack initiative. We people are
True.
victims of the mental cobwebs. Keep thinking
Yes.
what will happen. Let somebody introduce me. Anyways, I mean that's just a reflection of the personality and
No, but
continuation of
that
the topic
that
that we
has been
chose.
stated very right by you in a way. I am very happy that somebody did pop in a question because people would love to ask me as well. It's a conversation going on, so there could be a question coming in, and you are the first one. So what better a time it is when public should know that why Deep Talk's name was kept and why it is called a love seat, because there was nobody who wanted to actually ask. So you are curious, and I personally feel that it should be known to the public. So that's a great way of even starting a conversation with me. And many of our beautiful guests have joined us from your side and my side as well. So they're saying a hello. Gargi Halda, who's a visual impaired soul, my friend, my best friend, she's saying hello to you. Japnoor Kaur
Hi.
is saying amazing, always a pleasure to listen to you, sir. Anuba has said true, sir. Pushp Bansal has said Shante sir was my geography teacher during my pre-university at GCM 11. Anuba Gilyal has said used to be a dean at PGGC 42 around 2009. There is Kyra
Good.
Sharma, obviously the one who introduced you, sir, at his charming best. And these are the wonderful souls who are actually watching you, unraveling your experiences on Deep Talks. And it's wonderful to have you question me. It's a terrific start. How better can I thank you that actually you fit in this Diamond Jubilee very well today? And am glad. So I would love to ask you what inspired you to be a professor? Like as a child, were you too much interested in loving the experiences of how a teacher teaches in the classroom and you were engaged in that thought? Or was it something that really took off from an experience or in your life as a child? So, what inspired you to be in the education sector?
The answer to this can be very lengthy, but I'll try to be as brief as possible
Yes,
within the
sure,
time. But, otherwise, one can talk on this for an hour just on this itself.
sure.
But to be brief, my father came from a farming background, a
Oh, great,
simple village, rustic Punjabi, Jat Sikh
great,
farming background.
great.
Did not have the money to pay the fees. He used to walk 7, 8, 10 kilometers barefoot on hot sand, and did not have the money to pay his school fees also. Studied
Tremendous.
1930s, 1920s, and 1930s. He
True.
topped throughout his career in the whole of Punjab, the whole of Pakistan, whole of North India. It was an amazing achievement.
I
The
know.
pre-partition 1920s Punjab University, if you see, they had a degree called FSC. I think Faculty of Science, Fellow of Science or something. Fellow FA
Yes,
used to be a degree before BA, FA and FSC.
true.
So he topped in FSC, which was an examination conducted by Punjab University, Lahore.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Imagine a village bloke, village youngster,
Yes.
whole of Punjab, Pakistan, Kashmir, Himachal, Haryana, even Delhi people used to come to Lahore to study, and getting a gold medal in FSC, in BSc, and in MSc technical chemistry,
It
which
is
was
tremendous.
which later became chemical engineering.
Oh
He
God.
joined had he remained in chemical engineering, he would have been a top engineer of India.
True.
1930s, how many engineers of India were there? He could have gone to any university abroad.
Yes.
He joined teaching. He resigned a job where he was getting 350 rupees a month, which was a princely huge sum.
Huge
Those
sum.
days, university teachers were getting 60 rupees a month.
Yes.
A new college opened up in Lahore, and
Okay.
the owner gave a call that all bright people should join teaching. He
Yes.
offered 75 rupees. He said, I am offering 75, not 60 as other colleges are offering. And to
Oh
dad,
my
he
God.
offered 120. He said, you are a topper, you are a jewel of Punjab.
Hmm.
And dad resigned as manager, getting 350, and came and joined as teacher, getting 120 rupees a month.
Hmm. That
And
everybody
he
cannot
was
do. That everybody cannot do. Yeah.
and he narrated a whole lot of stories. He became principal very young. He became principal in his 30s, and he was
Oh
director
God.
public instruction Punjab, which had all primary education, school education, colleges, higher education, sports. Milkha Singh was under him. Dad was director and director public instructions. Milkha Singh was, I think, assistant director sports, reporting to my father. So
That's
he
commendable.
and we had a lot of guests at home. I used to see a lot of IS officers, ministers. Badal is daddy's student. Many ministers were his students from Lahore. So I used to see many ministers and IS people coming home, army officers, top people from every field. They would come home, talk to dad, pay him respects. Many of his students were judges, high court judges. Even I have a lot of them in the civils, about 25 in the civil services, about 10, 20 in judiciary. So all these people in their most honest talk would tell my father, and I used to be sitting with them or I used to overhear sometimes. They would say, Shante Saab, look, people think I am a general. They think I'm wearing these stars. People think I'm an
Yes.
IPS officer, DGP. People see the glory, but they don't know what kind of life we are leading. They would tell
Yes.
my father, if we can exchange our job with yours today, we would do it today. And believe me,
Oh,
many of my students have told me the same thing. I have 150 students in the army. Two of them have become
wow.
generals. Many of them are
Fantastic.
brigadiers and equivalent ranks. Many of them are colonels and equivalent. And
Commendable.
many of them have told me, sir, ये star ना लड़कियों को बड़ा impress करती है. Girls get impressed by the stars.
Yeah, sure.
But
I know it very well.
but these boys tell me once we have drinks together, then they say, ki,
Yes.
sir, after drinks, we'll not tell a lie to you. If we can exchange a job with you today, we would exchange it today.
And
Another incident which motivated me a lot, Daddy used to talk about this, that I wrote an article in the Tribune on the an anniversary issue of the Tribune. There was a special issue on education, the
you are
100
lucky.
years
You
of
are lucky to you are lucky to be there in the anniversary celebration of Tribune and there on the Diamond Jubilee celebrations of our episode. So you are
that.
fitting well with everybody.
Incidentally, that issue had about 6 or 8 articles by top educationists from all over India. And the editor told
Yes.
me, Kushal, he says, people have written horrible. He says, you can't imagine the kind of language, the kind of writing people have sent in. He said, yours is the only article which I did not have to edit at all. Not a single word I had to edit, not a single comma I had to change. And he said, there was one word which I did not understand, and I thought if I can't understand that word, public will not, so I changed that word. But that was a very key word in that whole article. Anyways, so in that article, I started with this that once 4 people were traveling in a train. This was about 30 years ago. An
Wow.
engineer, a doctor, an architect, whatever, they were all boasting. I made this building, I made that bridge, I made this hospital, whatever. And, they were all boasting. I made this, I made that. And then they asked the fourth man, so what do you make? What do you do? He says, I make the people who make all these things.
Wow. That's too good. That fits and speaks
He says,
volumes.
I make the people who make all these things. I'm a teacher. So anyway,
That's
all these
wonderful.
things, they had a deep, they had a deep impact on me. And I was very fond of doing things, playing tennis, rowing, reading, writing, encyclopedias at home, thousands of books at home. I used to feel sometimes that a day should have 48 hours, not 24 hours. But
That's
then I
so right.
managed. So I thought, teaching will give me the freedom. I'm not answerable to many people. I'm not going to be servile to people. I'm going to be independent. I'm going to read. I'm going to have spare time. Those days, there were a lot of vacations. In fact, I
Yes.
still think they were better days. The students
Great.
of today cannot understand, that summer
Yes.
vacation actually used to be 2 months or 2.5 months.
Yes.
Now it's less than a month, not even a month. Winter
True.
vacation used to be 10 to 15 days. Autumn vacation used to be 10 to 15 days. So I would
True.
go on a trek. I would go to Mussoorie, to Shimla, to Himalayas, or just go anywhere trekking. But
True.
now with the semesters, people have a lot of burden.
Yes.
Educationists, so-called
Yes.
educationists, have ruined education by burdening the
Yes.
students so much. They have no time to enjoy life. Life is
True.
meant to be
That's so
lived.
right.
We
Yes.
used to enjoy, but we used to, even understand and read and educate ourselves. So now
Yes.
people are doing more of cramming, more of just reading. They are
True.
not understanding. They are just doing reading and cramming,
Yeah. Rote
and they are
learning.
not living life. They are living a stressful life. So those
Very
days we
right.
had a lot of vacations, and I thought ki. And then another thing, I went to the US first time in 1986. My brother was
Okay.
brilliant. He was a topper throughout. He was a world beater, world champion in everything he
Wow.
did. I can write a book on him, what all he did.
Family of
Amazing,
achievers, I believe. I must say that,
amazing.
and I must applaud.
He was a topper in physics throughout. He corrected his guide, PhD guide, who was a Nobel Prize winner. He proved him
Oh
wrong, that
my
your findings
God.
are wrong.
My
That was
God,
the conviction that he had. And my brother
that's an
told me
amazing.
that he said that we are looking forward to a vacation every year. So I thought people are
True,
working, slogging, and spending all their life. And what are they looking for eventually? A vacation. And
true,
teaching is a career which gives you the vacation automatically.
true.
So all these things, and I wanted to just share my knowledge with people. So
Why not?
teaching was
Yeah.
teaching was just natural to me.
That is commendable, and I think that so much of inspiration it brings along with experiences that you've shared as answers to the public who's watching. I would love to say hello to all those who've joined, because there are a lot of souls who have joined and are enjoying the conversation. Rehmat Tanzila says, lovely listening to you. Chandni Tiwari has said, awesome listening to you, sir. There is Anju Thakur who says, wonderful. There is Rehmat who stated, huge respect for teachers indeed. There is Shubhi Multa, so inspiring. There is Garvit Sachdeva. Thanks for such great sessions. Your conversations are always rocking. And as Srishti stated, it's lively, inspiring, and informative conversation. Indeed, people are enjoying what you are saying, and I'm so sure that people will take away something from this insightful conversation that we are having, because only people like you who are able to take out their precious times apart from their work schedule, priorities of life, are able to move the youngsters. So, what is your take on the people who are stuck up and stagnant in their depressive states and sitting at home during this pandemic? Because many youngsters, not only youngsters, many people are getting affected by this virus. So, what is your take on it? How would you suggest some tips for the people who are unable to break the hesitation of opening up and expressing or picking up a helpline and calling, just in case if somebody needs help? Should they really ask for it? And what is the role of psychologists in India? I mean, should they be celebrated more and respected more than in the foreign countries? Because in the foreign countries, it's very well a normal routine. It's like a checkup. A psychologist side by side with a psychiatrist is considered okay to be visited if you have a mental health issue. But in India, it is considered to be that only if you are mad or if you are having a large issue, people try to hide it. Do you think it should be open to channels of communication, and people should talk more about it, so that people don't fear going to a psychologist for asking for assistance? So what's your take on these questions?
Excellent questions and the variety of questions. I'll take up each one of them. But before that,
Why?
just let me conclude the previous one just very quickly. That I had the best of the offers from media in Delhi and Chandigarh. I think
Great.
everybody knows Shekhar Gupta today, the Indian Express
Yes.
man, the walkie talk man. He was my contemporary. He was 1 year senior to me. He was
Yes.
actually holding my hand, pulling me when he joined the Indian Express in Chandigarh as a sub editor, fresher. He told
Yes.
me to join. I had so much better, superior offers from Delhi,
Yes.
unimaginable, amazing offers in Delhi, but I chose not to go into the media. I was sixth in the All India rank for armed forces as a commissioned officer without any preparation for it or interview. But I did not join the army, and sometimes I regret, especially during this Chinese intrusion. I was thinking I should have gone into the army. I want to go to Ladakh and fight there. But then lot of my students told me, "Ki, sir, had you joined the army, then we would not have been in the army. Because of you, we
Oh,
are there." And the year I joined teaching, that must be a record.
yes.
So anyone can verify that record. When I joined teaching, four of my students from my geography class were in the top 10 of CDS, including number
Wow.
two and number four ranks. And
Wow.
34 boys from my college in Government College Sector 11, where I taught. 34 boys made it to the army. And these days, if you read the papers, 20, 22, 30 from the whole of Punjab or the whole of Haryana make it. And we have
Yes.
34 in 1 year from one college only. I used to
True.
tell them, "Aajo, whoever wants to study, come." I don't charge anything. I've never taken a penny from any student. I've gone to the college and stayed there till 4, 5, 6 without food, without water, because students are my food and they are my water. I would
Yes.
not feel hungry, not feel thirsty, because as long as somebody is asking the questions, in fact, I would love people to ask more questions, whatever. Just keep throwing whatever questions you wish to throw. That's okay. So that
That's
was
so
the
right.
background, to also to my teaching as an option. Now coming to your thing about COVID and psychologists,
Yes.
I have a very clear take on this, and I get disturbed. Sometimes I lose sleep thinking so many people are suffering. Students are
True.
suffering. They are missing so
Yes.
much of education, academics, that life, the co-curricular activities, the sports, the bonding, the social thing, and the
Yes.
wit. Wit is very important. You never lose your wit. Part of
True.
COVID also, and today a very senior professor who's retired, daughter of a vice chancellor, and a childhood acquaintance and friend, and retired as a professor of physics, internationally known physicist. She posted on
Great.
Facebook that I'm getting depressed, I'm getting old. I feel I'm getting old faster in the COVID thing. So I immediately wrote to
Yes.
her, don't get stressed. What has to be
True.
has to be. There's that
Yes.
famous English song, Kar Sera Sera. It's very old song, very famous song, Kar Sera Sera means what has to be, will be.
That's too great.
It
Yes.
doesn't mean that you give up, does not mean that you give up. Keep trying, but stay happy, stay positive, stay focused. Depression
True.
will have absolutely no benefit for you.
True.
Throw out all the negative thoughts. Remain a child, be a child. And as
True.
part of that childishness, as part of that growing up thing, and as part of the losing thing, I'm correlating everything. Correlations are very important. Somebody
Yes.
posted on Facebook a small little thing, that the government of India has cancelled the plus two exams. So there
Yes.
was a tweet by the Prime Minister that we are cancelling the plus two exams. And somebody
Yes.
responded, you know what? Somebody responded, सर जी फेयरवेल तो करवा देते, वो नेहा को साड़ी में देखना था. I mean,
That
the teenagers have their own thought process, their own
thought
mind,
process.
which is valid. How much they are
Yes.
losing? They're losing exams, they're losing academics, they're losing studies, they're losing learning. And that
True.
poor boy wanted to see B section वाली नेहा को साड़ी में देखना, फेयरवेल में नहीं.
That
So
is
my take on this is, if something is not in your control, don't fret
true.
about it. Don't fume about
True.
it. Don't worry about it.
True.
And there's a very dad used to say, I learned thousands of things from my family, from my father, my mother, my brothers, sisters, everybody. And dad used to say one thing: be childlike, but not childish. Childish means
True.
being stupid, being a little ignorant, stupid sometimes, But
Careless.
childlike
Yes.
means behave like a child, innocent,
Yes.
honest, straightforward, spontaneous, smiling. So people
True.
need to be more childlike, be more witty, never lose your humor, but at the same time stay focused.
True.
I think I've learned so much. The amount of things I've learned in this pandemic. I've learned so much of cooking. I've learned so much of gardening. It's so satisfying. I don't know how I look, but uh,
No,
some people
no.
tell me,
You
some
maintain
people keep
yourself
telling me,
perfectly fine.
some people keep
Mhm.
telling me you're getting younger day by day. Some
Yes.
people are getting
Good to
older day by day. I don't know whether I'm getting younger or older, but what I believe is that if you retain that joy of learning, that
Yes.
childlike joy of learning, you will
True.
keep looking like a child, you will keep looking like a youngster, and you will
Yes.
keep having a healthy mind without depression. And
True.
this take it as an opportunity. You have time, you can learn so much. People are wasting time over video games, reels, and TikTok and PUBGs and nonsense.
Yes. Yes.
I have never played any game on phone. I don't have the time. There is so much to read, so much to learn, so much
Yes.
to
So
do
much to learn.
physically.
So, do you
So
think that non-productive activities should not be a part of a child's routine or a teenage a soul who's growing? And do you think that prioritizing time during this pandemic or other in usual life also is very important, because prioritizing is not what is taught in school. Sometimes teachers are unable to express themselves clearly as to what they are communicating, because sometimes children become fans of few teachers like you. I'm sure you have a lot of fans who are there watching this, and the ones who will be watching us later, even the adults. So I feel that there are some teachers who are able to communicate more nicely about the subject. So they should have the subject knowledge and also knowledge of other arenas. So the whole picture should become more clear, more wider, and they should have more of co-curricular activities inside the school, so that children are not only cramming things up and stressed, but they should be able to even talk to a psychologist in the school and learn an art or so, or instill some passion in their own soul, so that they can relive whatever they have lost in the interest in studies or something. So what's your take on all of this? Like, as an education minister, if tomorrow you become one, what are the reforms that you can bring to the education system?
I sometimes wish Punjab government would use my father's, people still tell me that there has not been another educationist or officer like your father. And amazing, he was 50, 60, 100 years ahead of his time. What he used to tell us in 1960s, people today also don't know. And I wishing will not do it. But if I get an appointment in the education of any state, I would
Yes,
transform that state. How I would
that's
do it
wonderful.
is too lengthy to do it, but then uh, I would actually make a difference. There's so much
That's
that can be done. So much that can be done in education sector. The Haryana Chief Minister earlier, Mr. Huda, was my senior in school, Chandigarh.
yes,
Once we had a school get together and he was there. We were walking around. The deputy CM of Haryana that time, Vinod Sharma, and the CM Huda, both were my seniors in school. So we had a
fantastic.
get together. I was the MC, master of ceremonies, introduced everybody, and then drinks and dinner till midnight. So we were
True.
walking around meeting people, and he was next to me, and that was his first time as CM. He didn't
Wow.
know me. He was senior to us. I just told him, I said, "Sir, congratulations. You've become the CM, and I wish you all the best." I said, "I have a request to make." He said, "What?" I said, "Sir, don't neglect education in your state. Most
Great.
politicians neglect education. Certain
True.
governments, if I can use a word, screw up. I would not use the other word. Screw is actually screwdriver also, so that's okay
Yes.
to use it. Certain governments have screwed up education absolutely.
Yes.
Some people,
A
we had some
fact.
principals who used to actually say, keep the staff and students busy with nonsense. They will not have time to question what you're doing. So some
So wrong.
politicians have that mindset. Keep the public
Yes.
involved in stupid things, so they will not
Yes.
question your wrongdoings.
Yes.
So I told Mr. Wood, I said, "Sir, do not neglect education and do not
So
neglect English." I said, I get students from Punjab, Haryana, and Chandigarh. Punjabis are
true.
far ahead of Haryanvis. Haryanvis don't know English.
Yes.
They hardly go abroad because they don't know English. They are scared
Yes.
of English. And
True.
I said, look at any developed country, every developed country in the world, Human Development Index, their GDP on education is 4 to 7%, ideally 6 to 7%. And India is hardly 2 to 3%. In the last 6 7 years, it has come down from 3.5% to maybe 2% now. So
True.
Mr. Huda was all ears. He said, "Is that so?" I said, "Sir, Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Scandinavian countries, their GDP percentage on education is 6 to 7%. They are
Yes.
developed." So
Yes.
he said, and he actually made a difference to Haryana. Whatever people may say about his corruption, after he came, he made a difference to education in Haryana. Haryana has grown in terms of education. And he told me that night, he said, "Come and see me in my office sometime." His
Wow.
helicopter pilot was my junior, his press secretary was my classmate. I never went there. I said, "Why should I go to a politician? If he wants
Yes.
to meet me, he'll call for me. He's not the Lord
Yes.
ki come and meet me, Raja ko milne jaye. I mean, I have my own
Yes.
dignity. I'm not arrogant. I'm not a
Dignity.
narcissist.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
not at all arrogant, but I have a dignity.
Yes. Yeah,
People told
definitely.
me, people said, "Arey, the CM called you. You should have gone."
Yes.
Badal once honored, the CM of Punjab, honored my father
Yes.
with a shawl. They had this
Wow.
college get together, and my dad was honored being a teacher with a shawl. And Mr. Badal
Commendable.
told him on the stage, he said, "Shante Saab, kade karana. Sometimes come home."
I
Dad
know.
says, "You are my student. You come home. Why should I come to your house?"
That is
How many people?
just
How many people have the
fantastic.
honesty and the courage to say that to the chief minister?
True. That seriously speaks volumes about you as a person and your family. They need to be applauded for bringing in such wonderful, fantastic souls to the nation. You are contributing at a large scale, and I'm so sure the ones who are watching, they're already commenting by saying we are inspired. Anmol Kaur has said we are inspired by your talks. She said it's very beautiful conversation. Anuba has said I want that educational system should be changed. It should be more practical than theoretical because at the end it's practical knowledge that should work. And Anmol has also stated inspiring conversation. So these are the people who are watching us and they're commenting because they're liking what you are talking about, and these are the facts that the public needs to know. And I don't know how many of the teachers are really teaching with their heart and mind into it. Do you believe that there are some teachers who are there on the basis of on the basis of the corruption that goes around? You must be knowing about it, and do
All
you
my
think that
students, though, sorry.
yeah, yeah, so do you
So
think that
see,
these kind of activities should be stopped? Because, the ones who are able to teach and they have interest and passion towards teaching only should be coming forward and entering this arena rather than the teachers who are appointed just by hook and crooks, the system. And we are not talking against anything, but we are talking something that's honest enough. So it's like nepotism in Bollywood. So what have you to say about this?
let me share an incident with you, which will partly answer your question also.
Wonderful.
Some 7, 8 years back, Mr. Sibal was the human resource minister,
Great.
education minister also, because human resource had education as part of it. And
True.
everybody knows he's a fiery speaker. He's a Supreme Court lawyer. People know
Yes.
he is a great orator, and he's known to be a very uh, tough character. And the
Yes.
minister for human resource, central minister, every state, every government is under him. He came for a thing called Edu Summit to the CII Chandigarh, Sector 33, 32, whatever. And I happened
Great.
to be there. It was a big occasion. All the top educationists, the education secretary, the director education, some top educationists, the minister, the media from Delhi, Bombay, TV media from Bombay had come, and there were very selected people from industry and education, just principals, deans, education
True.
people, and Mr. Sibal made a presentation, about 50-minute presentation. He
Oh,
walked
great.
to the dais from his seat about 10 yards away, and he made a presentation where he talked about privatizing education. He talked about RUSAR, the higher education, 1 lakh crore, 90,000 crore budget. He made a proposal that schools should be sold off, all government schools should be sold to the private sector. So anyway, he was
Okay.
talking. I could see what he's talking, the corporate mind
What is
behind all that.
yes.
Finally, he went and sat down, and there were question answers. People asked questions, about 7, 8, 10 of them. He was answering every question very nicely, very smartly, very confidently, very smugly, smiling and confident, and he's answering every question like the Lord
True.
that he was actually was.
True.
And I was thinking that what was on my mind, nobody mentioned. It was on my mind all the time. Finally, when there was a little silence, I raised my hand. I just raised,
Wonderful.
and he saw it. He said, "Yes," like a lord, the circus ringmaster. He says,
Yes.
"Yes."
True.
I said, "Sir, you've spoken for about 50 minutes, made a very nice presentation on education,
True.
but not even once," I emphasize, I repeat it. I said, "Sir, not even once did you talk about teachers, quality of teachers, selection process of teachers,
Yes.
emoluments of teachers." I said, "See the newspapers, every day there are protests. Hundreds of teachers not paid
Yes.
salaries for years together, 1 year, 2 years, they're not paid salaries." I said, "In your 50 minutes, you did not find a minute to talk about the selection process and the quality
True.
of teachers." He
True.
went red. I did not mean any insult to him. I did not mean to put him down.
Obviously.
I merely wanted to highlight a point. Who is
True.
going to look into the selection process of teachers, the quality of teachers? He actually
Yes.
turned red. He was fumbling in his file, trying to buy. I know, as a quiz master, as a quizzer, I know how
Yes.
to buy time. He was
Yes.
buying time, thinking what to answer.
What to
He
answer?
could not
Right.
answer. He kept fumbling. Then he walked all the way to the dice. I knew he's buying another 2, 3, 5 seconds that
Yes.
maybe he can come out with an answer. And finally what he said? He said, well, it was there in my file, but I did not have the time to talk. And
That's
after that, there was a break, and the media was all over me. They said, sir, you are the only one who had the courage to speak.
Yes, obviously it's
What should have been
commendable.
spoken?
True,
The
it
point
is
is,
very true.
nobody speaks. The teachers don't encourage students. All my students know, I used to tell them, the day there is no question in my class, I'm a failure. The day there is
Very
no
right.
question following my talk, I'm a failure. Ask
True,
me questions, any 1, 2, 10, 50,000 questions. If I cannot
true.
answer, if I don't know it, I'll find out, let you know tomorrow.
Yes, I
But
second that opinion.
99.9% people don't like questions. Teachers don't like questions. You ask a question to
True.
an ordinary teacher, he'll put you down. Students are scared.
Yes,
So that
true.
is what is wrong with the system. There is one thing
Yes.
wrong with the system.
That's
So
rightly pointed out by you. It is wonderful. There
so
is one soul
that
who's trying to ask you a question. So may I have a
you
question from someone who's wanting to ask you a question? She is Gargi Haldar. She says, why teaching profession is becoming so commercialized that it's losing its real value in today's time, and why the youth is least interested to opt for this profession. You have to answer if you may and if you feel like. This is Gargi Haldar asking you this question. She would love to know why youth is least interested these days to opt for this profession and why teaching profession is becoming so commercialized that it's losing its real value.
people get misled. People can't think original. People don't have the courage, the conviction, the originality to read, correlate, and think original. I'll tell you about a
True.
girl I had. She was the president of the college, Richa Sharma. She's in New Zealand now. Married happily
Yes.
there,
Okay,
Auckland.
great,
And
great.
maybe if she hears it someday, she'll
Why not?
recall.
You will have to share it
She
with her and make it happen.
she was the she was the president of the college when I joined that GCG 42 in 2007. So during one
Great.
of the conversations, something happened, and I said, how about teaching as a career? She was like, teaching, na na na, never, I would never be a teacher. As if, it was like repulsive. She said, teaching, na na na, never. Later on, she became a school teacher. She did
Wow.
MSc in mathematics. She joined teaching, and she was so happy. And she used to tell me, sir, it is so satisfying. I'm so happy with the kids. They come and surround you, and they ask you questions, and I answer their questions, and I'm so happy as a teacher. I said, Richard, do you remember the day you told me you would never be a teacher? People
Yes.
generally think teaching to ऐसे ही है, teaching to ऐसे ही है. I was always convinced 100% that
True.
I'm a happy teacher. I'm a proud teacher. I'm not vain. I'm not proud in a negative way. I'm not arrogant
Yes.
in that sense. But I know what I am, and
True.
I'm happy about it. I've had no regrets about
That's
it.
fantastic. That's fantastic. That reminds me of our first conversation on the call when Srishti told me he's a nice person. You should just connect with him on the call. And I said I definitely would love to speak to him. And you appeared to be arrogant initially, but when you were checking on from where did I do my work and from where did I study and all, I really found it so nice because there has to be a plethora of questions when you have a curious mind to know whom am I talking to, where from she's coming, and what is she doing, where does she belong to, because that gives you an insight into how we are comfortable in sharing what we can on the show that is right there in front of the public. So every word impacts the mindset is what I believe in, and I always feel that every word that we speak makes us and makes our personality. And that's what I have learned as a psychologist, that people do often say that, okay, as a psychologist, you're just listening to the person and offering an advice. But offering an advice also has to be, it has to be in a way where people take it, and they should not be able to take every word that I am saying literally. If I have to say something, I have to be so serious about it. It has to be meaningful. It cannot be something that makes no sense. And if I'm talking nonsense, then nobody would be appreciative of that. I'm so sure about it. So this show is based on that life is all about sharing your experiences, caring for each other, and sharing unconditional love without disrespecting any profession. Teaching has been giving the nation a large number of people involved in different sectors and arenas, and I must appreciate the teachers who are there serving during the pandemic times. because it's a crisis, and the online teaching has taken precedence over the classroom teaching. So what have you to say on this? Online teaching, is it better, or the teaching in the classroom is always a better preferred idea, where you have a physical connect with the kids, and they are in control situation? Wherein in the online system, the children have the leeway of, skipping the classes and taking their breaks. So during this pandemic, as a teacher, I would love to have your suggestions. And there is a fight over the teachers not being paid, online teachers, the ones who are serving online, they're not being paid. So what's your take on this matter? I mean, how can it be resolved? Do you have any idea and suggestions that can actually help
I'm
this education
I'm
sector?
very clear on this, absolutely clear about this. The authorities, politicians need to decide what they want to do to the country. Do they
True.
want to ruin it or do they want it to grow? As I
That's
mentioned
so
already, for any nation to grow, without education, there can be no development.
true.
Without a certain percentage of GDP to the education, there cannot be growth. The
True.
facilities have to be there, the teachers have to be paid well so that they are satisfied, they don't get into the commercial angle, and they give their best to the students. Very old
True.
saying, you can take the horse to the water, but you cannot make it drink.
True.
In France, I was given the toughest of the horses. We were about 25 people from many countries, 30 people from different countries, horse
Yes.
riding, right, swimming, kayaking, canoeing, whole lot of things. And 10 days horse riding, entire day horse riding in countryside, villages, towns, cities, everywhere. Swimming
Fantastic.
costume and horse riding into the cities. And I had the toughest of the horse. Nobody wanted to ride that horse. They said, this horse is very tough. I said, okay, give him to me. I'll take him. And
A
I actually
challenge.
experienced it. I could take him to the water, but could not make him drink.
Drink.
So you
That
can
is
take the teacher to the class, but you can't make him teach. How do you make him
true.
teach? What might stick? The government is making people do things forcibly. You
True.
can never force people to teach well. You
Never.
can never do that.
Never.
I'm convinced about
Very,
it. It has to be
very,
through motivation and the right incentives, the right selection process. You'll
very
be,
right.
I don't know if you're aware of this, the selection process for college university teachers. I still don't understand how can a country be so stupid. I'm repeating. I wish
Yes.
to repeat so that
Yes.
people don't misunderstand me, that it is not a
True.
slip of tongue. I
True.
repeat that the country is stupid, absolutely stupid. You have a
Yes.
selection process for the net examination, which is
Yes.
objective type.
Yes.
I know people who can appear till the age of 35 due to reservation, who can have
Yes.
15 chances, and who can
True.
appear every year, and their
True.
percentage comes down to even 35. General may be 65, but there may be 35. So
True.
after 10, 15 years of trials, one day you get lucky and you answer all A's or you answer all B's, and you get 25 or 30%. You may not
Yes.
be able to write. You may not be. You actually are not able to write a single sentence. I know of at least
Yes.
four PhDs, four teachers of colleges. There are many more,
Yes.
hundreds of them. I
Very
personally
right.
very well know four of them who cannot write one correct line of English. You tell them to write on my mother, they will not be able to write two lines. Tell them to
True.
write a notice that tomorrow there is a meeting. They cannot
They
write
will
that
not.
one line. And they
Yes.
cleared the net exam because
Yes.
it is objective
True.
type and they have become teachers.
Yes.
This is the stupidest
State.
country that I have seen in terms of education.
True. I
Who will
second that. I
change it?
agree. True.
Are we so short of brainy people in the government that nobody can think about it, or are they deliberately screwing up the education? Sorry, but
It is.
my blood boils.
No, no, it is,
You
it
ask
is,
me the
it is. I agree with you on that note. We are just puppets in the hands of the people who are, and we are the ones who are the initiators of such kind of changes. And we are talking some facts which might stir up some souls because they are in the teaching profession and they would love to ask you those questions. Like Push Bansal has really asked you a question. Can there be computerized regular qualifying tests for teachers so that they keep themselves updated? is what he has asked. Would you love to answer him?
Teachers are the builders of the nation. Do you ever hire an unknown person as a shoemaker or as your tailor or as your hairdresser?
Never, never.
I mean, teachers are the people who build characters.
True,
How can
true.
when I was the dean, we had some vacancies for teachers.
Yes,
People gave me hell. The principal, the teachers, my colleagues, they gave me hell, and my students of geography know it.
yes,
Why? Because I wanted to advertise that let more people know, let better people come. I wanted
yes,
the teachers to take a demo class. And every teacher in my circle there, in my department, the principal, they opposed me tooth and nail. They opposed me like hell. They would have murdered me. And what was my crime? I wanted the four applicants to take 10, 20, 30 minutes of demo class so that the students can see who is a better teacher.
gosh.
People,
That
people thought I have raped somebody or I have murdered somebody. And the crime was simply wanting a demo class. If a teacher
that
is
wasn't
asked to
actually
give
a
a
crime.
demo class, I mean,
Yeah,
do I ask a teacher to do knitting or to do cooking? He has to know how to teach.
true.
So, I mean,
That's right.
you select
Yeah.
the, all the corporate people know, corporate people don't want the most brilliant minds now. They want people with the right EQ. People with
Yes,
the right EQ join the top company and they will train you what to do.
true.
So you select the right people into teaching and the nation is on the way to glory. You
I
screw up
believe.
education, you screw up the GDP on education, and the nation is plunging. You can see what is happening to the economy, to the GDP, to everything in general.
True, true.
Somebody
That
has
is
to be honest. Somebody who matters, whichever city of India, I would not name the city, people would know which city I'm
sure.
talking about, directs the
True.
things that are happening in India. People sitting in that city have to know how to build the future of India. Otherwise, I don't see much. Uh,
True.
I'm a I'm always positivist. I'm always optimist, hopeful, never into
Yes.
negativity.
That
But
is fantastic habit to have,
but
because
but, but
many
the
people are
but you have to
pessimistic.
see the growth curve. You have to see the curve whether it's falling or rising. Catch it
Yes.
early. The curve's been falling, falling, falling. Now it is fallen so much even a blind man can see it's falling. Even now, if
Yes.
you don't uh, wake up,
True.
and I blame the people more because the people are the ones who decide who is to decide their future.
True. It is. It
Unless
is.
people wake up,
Yes. It is. It is definitely what you have said is something that takes a lot of courage, and you've taken a lot of pains to be able to achieve all that you've achieved in your life, Professor KPS Shanti. That's commendable, because sharing your life experiences and you undergoing them, enduring them with bravery, courage. I'm sure that taking the top stand and maintaining the top position is a difficult game altogether. Everybody doesn't reach the peak. So, what have you to say
it's
about
one
those
life.
people?
Yeah, one
Yes,
life. Live like a king. Live like a lion. Live like a
yes.
lion, even if for one day. Why live like a sheep for 100 days?
True,
Old
true.
saying.
Well said. So, what is your take on those people who are very ambitious, and when they don't get something, then they fall down? So, what's your advice to them? Like, everybody has their own unique abilities and potential capacities which they can, unfold while they are enduring some challenges in their life. Should they give up just because they have had a failure, or there should be more disaster management techniques in their life mentally, so that they can keep not only mental health in check but physical health, and also acquire some habits that can be really optimistic for their future progress and productivity?
There was a time I used to be very tentative and doubtful about a lot of things, but I'm surprised that most of your questions I'm very clear. There's
Yes,
also that famous quotation that the problem with the world is that the wise are full of doubt and the fools are cocksure. Let
yes,
me
true.
repeat. A quotation I read in my school days. The problem with the world is that the wise are full of doubt and the fools are cocksure. So today I'm
Yes,
cocksure about a few things.
true.
Whether I'm a fool or wise person, I don't know. So you said whether falling down is, my take on falling down. I would be
Yes,
very happy falling down. No child has ever learned to walk without falling down. Nobody
True.
learned cycle or scooter, mobike without falling down.
True.
If there is one person, show me. Show me any kid who's started walking without falling down. And
Yes. Very right.
it's a question of the way you look at it. The famous half
True.
glass, you can say half glass empty or you can say half glass full. The choice is yours. You can say half
Exactly.
empty, half full. Be realistic.
True.
So falling down is very simple. You can be depressed or you can say, wow, great. I fell down. I'm so happy. I'm doing something. I'm
True.
learning. Next time I'll
True.
not fall. I didn't get hurt. Hey, I fell down, but I didn't get hurt. My bones didn't
Yes.
break. Be happy, rejoice, raise a toast, be cheerful. And
True.
falling down means you are doing things. And the greatest lesson in Gita, karam karo, fal ki chinta mat karo.
Wonderful.
Actually, don't worry about fal, just do your karam. गिर गए बहुत अच्छा यार अगली बारी फिर गिरो.
True. True.
Get
So
up.
that's right stated. Very well
The,
stated,
the
and I do believe in
box,
that. Yeah.
every sportsman
So
and boxer knows falling
true.
down is fine, but not getting up is not fine.
True. That
Fall
is
down, but get
so
up.
great. So apart from being an educationist, I would just love to unravel before we end up this conversation on an arena which you might love to share. One of your romantic experiences with your beloved that you would love our, people watching, so that they get a little lighter on the note that okay, let's have a talk about it, because relationships these days are, losing the patience and perseverance to endure the quarrels, the fights that are happening even during the pandemic and before that. People are coming out with marital counseling, premarital counselings. So, what's your take on these and some tips for people to have healthy relationships? Coming from you, it would mean
Very, very
lots.
clear again. I've been
Yes,
very clear from my school, college, university days.
yes,
Never ever cheat. Never cheat.
true,
Never
true,
lie.
true.
Whatever you are looking for in a relationship, be clear about it. Never
True,
force yourself over anyone. Somebody
true,
doesn't like you, don't run. Don't keep running after that person. Person doesn't like
true.
you, yeah, forget it, forget her, forget him. That's it. But don't
Exactly.
hesitate to make a proposal. You want
Yes,
to wait that anecdote I shared, that Indian girl and Indian boy, whole year
yes,
they kept waiting. I mean, proactive, be proactive, take the initiative. Nobody's going
yes,
to kill you or murder you for it. Go and take a
true,
chance. Whatever you want to do, go take a chance. But be honest.
true.
I knew of people who had 10 girlfriends at one time, and they used to tell every girl, look, you are the only one. I used to wonder how can they do it. One of my best
Oh,
one of my best friends had this,
that's
He
an
would
art.
tell five, he would tell five of them, you are the only one, you are the only one. That is something
Yeah,
I've never believed in, never done it. But
yes,
whatever you
that
want in any relationship, whether it's your family, your siblings, your children, your parents, your teachers, students, sweethearts, anyone, just be honest. That's it.
just be honest.
At the
That's
at the
that's
most, it'll be a
wonderful.
no, fine. If it's a no,
Yes.
find somebody else.
True. That is so wonderfully stated by you, that be honest. And that's what we all talking about: relationships, experiences of life, and some facts about how education system can be reformed. And not only that, there have been a lot many souls who've shared their opinions, and we are so thankful for them for sharing their time. And it is commendable that people would love to watch this, and this would be shared with many groups. So if anyone who's watching this would love to share this while we are conversing and we're ending the conversation, you're most welcome to do it, because this show is all about you, your love that you have given not only me but Srishti, and we together are hoping that you like our shows, and the future people who appear on the show will be happy to see you commenting, liking, and sharing. So there's a simple quote that I would love to share with everybody. It's: brave souls require enthusiastic approach to continue. And every show we have a deep tip, which I usually share with the public. So this is never say you are educated enough till you imply the same in your actions. And that's what I totally agree with. When you have the knowledge, it is better that you share and also act the same, because that brings some kind of a celebration every moment. And life is all about celebrating every moment. We are in connect with a terrific, adventurous soul. and an educationist and much more. We don't have words for him and his achievements and the incredible work that his family has done for the nation, because it is something which calls in for a toast. And I'm so happy and glad that we have hosted Professor KPS Shante on Diamond Jubilee celebration of Deep Talks, because I could not find any other person better than him to share some facts about certain aspects of life that people would not share. And that's what he's shared with us. And I hope that you have loved this conversation. And before leaving this conversation, I would love to say that every word impacts the mindset, so use your words carefully. Pictures of experiences show up in talks that are not forgotten easily. Be sure to check out your verbal diary in use that can make you or break you. So this is, you are watching Diamond Jubilee celebration of Deep Talks, the 61st episode with Professor KPS Shante in conversation with Ms. Gurleen Khokhar, the host of the show. So I'm so sure that you have loved the conversation so far and you'll be loving to continue it. But due to the shortage of the time period and everybody who are having less of time with them to, hear us speak on many topics. And this is not the end of the conversation. We are going to invite you again if you have time, and God willing, if we are honored enough by you. And I hope, I would love to ask you this question before we end up this conversation. Do you believe that extrinsic motivation given to students really helps in brightening up their mindsets? Because as rightly stated, that flyer had the bright mindset. So now I ask you this question: do you think motivation really helps students kick off in their life for something that can be valuable and contributive to the larger section of the society? And what is motivation meaning to you? I think I'm audible. Am I audible, Professor KPS Shante? I think Professor KPS Shante has gone on a technical glitch somewhere. So we are celebrating the Diamond Jubilee celebration of Deep Talks while we again invite Professor KPS Shante to the show. Please hold on and believe that there is something that's called an external factor. So we were talking about extrinsic motivation. So I would love to say that it was wonderful having Professor KPS Shante on Diamond Jubilee celebration of Deep Talks. It's a wonderful show. Sometimes things are not in your control, as he rightly stated. So maybe there was a technical glitch and he just went off and we couldn't hear him. But this brings me to something that's me time, and I would love to have it, because on Diamond Jubilee celebration, what a better chance just to take the screen space and be there. I feel that, in life, we use language to make or break a life. And if we start using our words very judiciously and very selectively in an environment which is conducive for the talks, it brings in a lot of positivity. I have tried on myself on my life, and it brings in a lot of smile and a lot of relief. Be sure to check your verbal diary every single day. The environment at your home, the environment where you work, the friends you have, I'm sure they will be able to tell you that this isn't correct. This is how we felt. So, making a person feel better is by checking your verbal diary. I, as a psychologist, always let my clients know about it. That journaling your thoughts is great, is a great way to be in connect with who you are. And that speaks volumes, because everywhere in this world, we are speaking something that might affect one soul and many souls, and it can contribute a larger section for the nation. I have been doing this Deep Talks show, and I'm so sure that everybody can relate to this show in a very large way, and that is through their love, and they can share their comments and opinions. And I go through each one of the comments, and there we have Professor KP Shante back with us, and it was wonderful to know your answer, but we would love to again question you about the motivation. What does motivation mean to you, Professor KP Shante? And do you think extrinsic motivation brightens the mindset of people around you?
In certain ways, motivation becomes the key driving force.
True.
Sometimes I've given talks, 2 hour, 3 hours talks on motivation. That's a different lengthy topic in itself.
Yes.
Motivation can be all talk, it's all in the mind. And
Yes.
sometimes it is the mind that drives every action.
True.
I've seen people who are excellent achievers, who
True.
are superb achievers only because of one quality, and that is to do with Nike. Just do it.
Just do it.
There are
True.
people who keep talking about motivation, Sara din, morning, evening, motivation messages, WhatsApp messages, Gyan, Facebook, this, that. They keep
True.
talking all the time, but they're not doing it. There are people
True.
who just do it. So there has to be a balance. In a way, balance becomes very important. Balance is the key to everything in life. Balance
True.
in thinking, balance in exercise, balance in food, in your activities. Everything has to have a balance. The whole earth is in a state of balance. The whole universe is in
True.
a state of balance. When you're walking, you
True.
have to be in a balance. So your
Yes.
activities have to be in a state of balance. And the
True.
motivation is very important, but only motivation and no action again is useless.
Useless.
Sometimes I
True.
use the word fire in the belly. The passion, the
Yes.
single most driving force becomes passion. If you don't
True.
have the passion, you can do nothing. So passion
True.
can be towards work, can be towards feelings, can be positive, can be negative, can be love, can be emotional love, can be physical love, can be uh, your commitment to your work. Like I used to be in the college all day, hungry, without water, without food, all day. That was a passion. So that
Yes.
commitment, that passion, sometimes you can inculcate, you can actually cultivate that quality of passion and that fire in your belly that you have to do something. So
Yes.
motivation sometimes moves people
True.
to great glories. Sometimes
That
people
that
just keep thinking. So the lesson to take is get your motivation, but be very clear headed that without action there is nothing that's going to happen. So act,
true.
do.
So before ending this conversation, I was just having me time on the show when you went off, and I was just sharing that, enjoy being you and contribute to the larger section of society. Do not keep your knowledge to yourself. And I'm raising a toast to the bold souls. And I would request everybody to stay safe during this pandemic, stay mentally and physically fit, enjoy every moment of your living. So you have unraveled your experiences on Deep Talks. What would be that one message that you would want to give to the host and to the audience who will be watching this later and the ones who are watching us now and the ones who've commented, everybody around you, the ones who love you unconditionally? What would be that one message to all of them and to the host of the show?
Stay smiling, stay
That's
positive,
great.
keep doing things, be clear headed, don't worry, keep
True.
learning. And
True.
clear thinking is very important. Don't worry if there are bouts or phases of negativity. It's okay. It's normal to have things. It's normal to have bad phases. Normal not to feel good at times. Normal to get into depression. There are times I feel depressed. I actually feel, yeah, I'm in depression. But then the problem is that you fall down and you get up quickly. Like a
True.
boxer who falls down, he gets up quickly and fights and wins. Another boxer may
True.
fall down and may just keep falling, keep lying there. So it's normal to have negative thoughts, normal to have depression, but get out of it as quickly as possible, and that is possible.
True.
So,
That is
one,
wonderful. That's
one,
a wonderful message to the audience, the public, and to the host. I would love to have, though I know the critics can come in, the criticism can come in little later, but I would love you to share the blessings for the show to move on with another person on the seat. And I'm so sure that you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. So we would love to have your blessings, me and Srishti together. And I hope that we stood up to your expectations of what the show was to bring to you.
yeah, it was good talking to you, and I really do wish you all the best. The
Thank
psychologists
you.
do have a great role. I couldn't answer that earlier. You asked that question, and it was in my mind, but people
You can
should
always
not,
share it now.
yeah, people should not be apprehensive of anything.
True.
Why? As long as you don't do it, you are a loser. Not doing
Yes.
means you are a loser. So you might as
True.
well try it and lose. You are a loser. But if you win, you win. So
True.
psychologists are people who can be helpful, and there are times when any counselor, anybody, and I really feel that, I mean, no reflection on you because you're a qualified psychologist. But I have
True.
seen many qualified psychologists, counselors in colleges,
Yes.
in schools,
Yes.
uh, who may be qualified but who may not actually be that competent. So my
Yes.
take is clear that you don't really need to be a qualified psychologist to be a
True.
counselor. I've seen
True.
some people who are not qualified teachers, engineers, doctors,
Yes.
who go and teach, who are better
Yes.
teachers than many qualified teachers.
Yes. Very
So
true.
qualification is good. Qualification is great. It gives you that academic
Yes.
knowledge background.
True.
But
But the
it does
ability
not
to
mean
have.
that, yeah, it is not the only criteria to be a counselor. So people should
Yes.
not hesitate to seek counseling,
Yes. True.
not
That's
hesitate to
wonderful.
do anything.
That's a wonderful thought. And on this note, I would love to bid adieu. And I would love to thank all the ones who have been, there supporting us in this conversation by commenting, liking, sharing. And I would not let you all go away without saying a good night, because this is something that was wonderful on Diamond Jubilee celebration. A lot many souls who have joined us. I believe that the love that you all hold is truly there with me for you all. And I would love to again, once again, thanks Professor KPS Shante for sharing his valuable screen time with us and making this show look like, a diamond in itself. It's just like something that it is just unimaginable that somebody could just appear and on just something that was just a share of flyer and a connect from Srishti. It is wonderful to have you, sir, here once again. Thanks a lot and wishing you, yes, you have something to say.
And just one last thing, I would like to thank before you conclude. You'll have the last words, but I wish to
True.
thank you and Srishti, Kaira, and I wish to thank everybody. I cannot take any names, but I remember all the names: Ruba, Gildial, Japnoor, the
Yes.
name you took, and
Yes.
Gitanj.
Pushpa
So
Bansal, I
all
think.
these people who are there, thank you so much. I love you all so much. It's good to connect with you. Stay smiling, stay
True.
positive, stay happy, and God bless you all. And hopefully, we'll stay connected. And just don't
Yes.
give up. Keep smiling always. Keep doing good things. And God bless you all. Thank you so much.
Good night. Good night, everybody.